Thank you for joining On the Range podcast.
And don't forget, hit that subscribe button, leave us a rating review, even if it's just a thumbs up emoji. Thanks for all your support.
On the Range podcast. On the Range.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On the Range podcast. Happy Sunday, wherever you are. Thank you for making us part of your day. I'm your host, Mark Kelley with KelleyDefense.com, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host and friend, Rick Hogg. How's it going, buddy?
Man, Mark, it's going great. Look at this. Production value just went through the roof. We got drone footage as we're rolling, So the words of being 1% better every single day, they're just not lip service, man. If you watch where we started and where we're at, big difference. But yeah. I want to thank you, the viewer listener out there, for giving us your most precious commodity, your time to tune in. Guys, do us a huge favor. Swing by warhog.com, KelleyDefense.com. Sign up for those newsletters. Trust me, we will not inundate you with a bunch of rubbish. It's straight to the point, good stuff. And you'd be surprised some of the goodies that come out there. Don't forget, since you're out there on the interwebs, swing by patreon.com/On the Range podcast. Become a member of the Patreon crew. Heck, man, you can join Patreon for free and check it out. Granted, you won't get all the super access as our members do, but if you're a law enforcement officer, we got special price tiering just for you guys because, hey, man, we love our LEOs. Speaking of our LEOs, guys, don't forget, spread the word as far as Project Officer Survival, where we offer free law enforcement firearms training. Get the word out there. Trying to build some corporate sponsorship for that. So, again, word of mouth is always the best. And don't forget, last but not least, the most important thing, this show is brought to you by the Firearms Training Notebook. Got to have a plan for when you're out there training, right? And the Firearms Training Notebook gives you that plan for either your dry or live fire session so you can see yourself becoming 1% better every single day.
That's a good piece of housekeeping too, man. Yeah, that's a good piece of housekeeping with that Firearms Training Notebook. We had the pre-sale for the introduction to the spiral bound edition, which was a great success. Mm-hmm. Appreciate everybody who participated in that. We don't know when that's going to be in full production. We're still working that out, but they turned out great. Absolutely great.
Dude, fantastic.
Yeah. Our main man, Bob, the printer man, he did a good job, did us a solid at short notice, got them ready, and we shipped all those out. So big thanks to him, and big thanks to everybody who bought it. And also the paper-bound edition, it's on Amazon. It is still flying off the virtual shelf, as they say, because we're getting every month we're getting people buying that thing, and it's coming to be that time. We really need to talk about this topic about training because if we can't make you think that this is important, we can't do it. But we had we got some thoughts on this, but we had the Kansas City Chiefs parade incident where we had a couple of individuals. Wasn't a targeted attack on the crowd. They were acting out, being criminals, and they ended up killing a lady, a mother, and injuring 22. Many of them were kids. And, we're going to get into that a little bit, but we can't make you now. I know what you're saying. Well, Mark, that wouldn't have prevented anything. You're right. But
I'm going to pause you, Mark, right? I'm going to pause you.
Yeah.
If that's their mentality, shame on you, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know. Because here's the thing. When's the next something going to happen to you?
Exactly.
I don't know. I carry a gun all the time, right? I'm not looking for trouble, but if trouble looks for me, sorry, dude. And you know what? I'm putting the time in to be as proficient with that tool as I can. And, like you said, we can't force anybody, but I'm here to tell you, I'm here to tell you this. Statistically, let's look at it. And we're not even sure of the numbers. 10 million-ish illegals have crossed the southern border since the Biden administration has been here. Look at the number of crimes that's gone up, right? Look at the number of violent crimes. New York City can't have a gun, right? But some 15-year-old illegal gets a gun. I'm telling you, people, pull the bag off your head. It's not a matter of if, it's when. So be prepared.
Yeah. Get out there and do your training, set up your your family members, the young people, to realize the importance of being capable.
Mm-hmm.
It's flat out important. And, we can't stress it enough. And the firearms training notebook is a big piece of that. It will help you plan your training, start to seriously track that progression and all kinds of stuff. And all you got to do, and you know what, I'm going to say it right now, you should be joining a coaching squad like the crew. You
Mm-hmm.
should be. You should be hearing ideas. You should be hearing what we've been doing for the last 3 decades, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Had enjoyed some relative success on our progression as well and helping others to be good at it.
Yeah.
And that, join someone else's. I don't care, but you need to start doing something. And this is crazy. If you're not going to get slapped in the face with the truth, you're going to end up paying for it. Something's going to happen, and you're not going to be able to see it coming or prevent it or even stop it at its earliest as you can. Because if it wasn't for those folks intervening, and they didn't have firearms on them, by the way,
Yeah,
it would have been a lot worse.
I agree, brother. Right, but here's the worst part, Mike. But here's the worst part, Mark. Right, is if I get myself killed, and this is just Rick, right, and this was my mentality in the service. It's one thing if I get myself killed because I'm an idiot and not putting the time in, right? It's another thing if I'm not putting the time in and I get somebody else, i.e., one of my family members that I can't protect because I don't have the skill set. I don't have the physical fitness, right? I haven't been putting the work in to make myself better. And then what happens, right? That's a life of regret and misery right there because you didn't want to put the time in and put the work. So,
Absolutely.
I think that horse has been beat. If you haven't picked it up,
Yep.
if you haven't picked it up by now,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. And we'll keep saying it because we owe it to you.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
like you said, it's on you. But
Mhm.
there's another piece about this that I want to talk about that I think men are failing at. And yes, this has been a rough couple 2 or 3 years for the toxic masculinity crowd and all these other things. Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah,
So what? So what?
it's
I don't want
it's
to hear.
tough. It's tough if you make it tough, right? Stick
Oh
to your
yeah,
guns.
it's already tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Stick to your guns, right? Don't let these
Yep.
Sallies tell you that you're toxic because you're a man or you lift weights or you do whatever. Go tell them Twinkies to piss off,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Absolutely.
this whole thing, like the scales are starting to be removed from my eyes, and there's a deeper agenda going on, and it's all psychological warfare, right? So let's think about it. This toxic masculinity thing has been being pushed for a while, right? Then we got this epidemic of mental illness in the country, where now gender dysphoria, it's a mental health issue, right? And we got all these people don't know which side is up, thinking their dogs, cats. Where did all this crap come from, right? So to me, it's all just a propaganda deal. And if you fall for that crap, shame on you, right? And how it's funny. I'm getting ready to do a post on Twitter. I came across this picture of a female swimmer in her swimsuit, and down by her crotch area, she has this little thing that says "not a dude," right? Which is awesome. Which is
Yeah.
awesome because if you think about it, uh, old Will stealing trophies from chicks, right? Because he's basically a mentally ill dude that sucked at his sport. I think he was 400 and something. I forget his number, 65 or something. As a male athlete, he sucked. So all
Yeah,
of
it
a
wasn't
sudden,
competitive. Let's
hell
just be
no, he
real.
wasn't competitive, right? So now all of a sudden he says he's a chick, and they let him do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Penn State let
Yeah.
him do it, and told them girls to shut their mouth.
I
And
think it was Pennsylvania University, just to
or
be.
yeah. I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, I think but you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania University. Yeah.
But then let him go in the shower with his male genitalia hanging out, and that's
Mm-hmm.
okay, right?
Yeah.
And they told them girls to shut up. Who's wrong there, right? This whole thing is upside down. Where I heard this latest one, they want to oh, what was it? I'm drawing a blank. But they wanted to give pedophilia like this certain class where it's okay. It's not okay. It's like they're trying to tell you wrong is right and right is wrong, right? So they're going to tell you that an adult that wants to molest a child is okay, but you as a male, biological being a Brutus, being a protector, right? That's wrong because they're looking just to get everybody dumbed down, in my opinion.
Yeah, the child attracted individual or some bull crap
You,
like that.
you're
Yeah.
changing names for he's a pedo,
Yeah,
right? He's a pedophile.
to make
Don't
them
change.
feel better.
Yeah. No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. You are mentally, again, another mental health issue disorder that we don't want to address. Nobody, no adult should be attracted to a child, right? Eh, Wrong answer. So it- my whole thing is I've always said I don't know who this magical puppet master or masters are, right? That is trying to shift our society and societal ways of thinking. And if you think about it, I fully believe Zuckerberg's part of this crew, right? All these high tech dorks all got their fingers in the pot because they're controlling that information.
Yeah.
But men have to understand, don't let a single person, one iota toxic masculinity. What rubbish is that? Who even
Yeah.
came up with that word, right? It's like does not compute. Go sit there, grow your facial hair, go get some big muscles, and you know what? Be a good person. There you go. Be an example for the youth. So as they grow up, they can sit there and tell the rest of these Twinkies out there going, hey, you can take your toxic masculinity and shove it. So,
Well, that's a very good point. There was a couple pieces that we wanted to talk about. One was, hey, there's an attack on men and all that other stuff. Yeah. So what else is new? All right. Suck it up. Start doing the right thing.
mhm.
The big piece is I do think there's some failure on, and we don't have to get into demographics. I don't care who or what or where in this United States.
Mhm.
If you aren't being a positive, strong male figure in your child's life,
Mhm.
and they go out there and they do something as horrific as what occurred in Kansas City,
Mhm.
I would feel some responsibility for that. I would feel that I have failed. I have done something wrong. I'm not saying that the end, well, a second ago, you're saying focus on the individual. I am, because
Mhm.
people know right from wrong. But what I
Sure.
am saying, I was more terrified of my mom and dad saying, I'm disappointed in you.
Mhm.
That is probably the worst thing that they could have ever said to me. And I was never going to do that. I'm
Yeah.
sure I've done some things that they didn't like, but to have them say that. So I didn't worry about the law. I knew what my parents said was right and wrong, and I was afraid to break what I thought that they wouldn't want me to do. Period. Had nothing to do with me looking around if there's a cop and there was always a cop standing around, because that's not the truth.
Mhm.
I would have felt some responsibility for that. And I think men, yes, women are involved too, but I'm just saying, coming from being a dad,
Mhm.
men are failing a lot of these youths big time.
Well, they're failing on a bunch of different aspects, right?
Oh,
So,
sure. Yeah.
number one, my numbers might be off, right? We'll just I know it's well over 50% um of kids today are in a broken home, right? So divorced parents. They're not, a father and mother cohabitating together in the same residence. That's first and foremost, right? So you got that piece going on there. But if you look at all this crap that we've been told, you know, this is toxic masculinity, this, that, the other. Like kids don't go outside and go in the woods, right? There's no you're not encouraged to do sports. You're not encouraged to um repair a vehicle, repair the house, do things. Think about this, man. When we were growing up, we did things with our dads, with our hands, right? You got your
Hmm.
hands dirty. You learn how to do things. It was one of those skill sets that, hey, your dad may or may not have been a mechanic, right? But he might have taught you how to do something there, or maybe he was a carpenter, or whatever dad's kind of skill set was, kind of get passed on to kids. And I just look at this day and age, we're too technology based, right? Like these phones and these social platforms, they are just a mental suck of your time that gets you totally distracted from what you should be doing. You know, as a dad, and I'll just give you my thing. I was always encouraging my kids. I didn't care what they did, right? Did I want to see them be in sports? Yep. Were they in sports? They were. Was there some sports like midway through they probably weren't really enjoying that sport? Yeah. Did they quit? Nope. You can't quit.
Mm.
Now you're going to ride the season out. You're going to put the work in. Then, hey, next, season or sports cycle, whatever the case may be, if you want to go switch sports, yeah, by all means. But you're not quitting. How many people, think about it. I'm not putting any parents under the gun right now, but just think about it to yourself. Have you let your kids bail or quit or done things, the uh the easy wrong versus the hard right, for lack of better terms? So that's part of it. Is we are just a broken society, and then we've got all these distractions built in that just suck our time, that to me totally take away from the parenting thing. I've God, think about this. How many times you go to a restaurant and you're watching a family of four sitting there and there's not a conversation one, right? So they at least got the family nucleus. Mom and dad are at least together, or so it seems, right? And there's not a single piece of conversation going. They all got their freaking boxes in their face. And it's like, what are you guys doing? Right? That's part of it. You got to sit there and go, hey, man, if we're going out for family dinner, stick your phone down, put it away, shut it off, throw it out the window. I don't care. Take charge, men. It's your family. Take charge of them.
Yeah.
And
And there's plenty of people out there doing the right thing,
oh,
and this goes for,
100%.
this goes for, significantly older siblings, grandfathers, stepdads.
Mhm.
There's a lot of folks that are doing, there's homes that, have suffered a divorce where everybody's still involved with the kids,
Mhm.
both grandparents. Now they got two new sets
Sure.
of grandparents, all kinds of stuff that are happening that are very positive, and they're being productive.
Right. But at the end of the day, Mark, the positives, unfortunately, don't outweigh the negatives.
Right. Yep.
And that's my concern. So at any type of math type sequence, if you want to look at it, the percentages just aren't there for these young kids to have these positive role models. I think about it back in the day. Go ahead and back talk an adult. You're going to get clipped across the face, right?
Yeah.
If not by that one, dude, don't let your parents hear you back talking. It's like, I think for us, we had, not that we didn't disrespect the police, but we had more of a fear of what was going to happen at the house. The
Oh yeah.
repercussions there, then, so it's
Hmm.
like, you weren't going to be a jerk. You weren't going to be an idiot. Did we do some stupid stuff? Yeah, of course we did. We're kids. But when you got pinched, for lack of better terms, it was yes sir, no sir,
Oh,
right?
dude.
I
Oh man.
mean, yeah.
Yep. It's just one of those things that you can see it. You can see it with your own eyes. And even in law enforcement, when over the last 30 years, you would see a strong figure in families back then.
Mhm.
You would see grandma. Everybody loved grandma, and everybody knew who grandma was.
Mhm.
And now those are gone. Those are
Yeah.
gone. You see these parents. And look, there are bad apples. There
Mhm.
are bad apples. But you're not going to be able to convince me that if there was somebody who was in that circle, whatever that family is for those individuals, criminals, let's call them who they are. They're criminals, did what they did in Kansas City
Mhm.
because someone looked at them wrong. They decided they're going to spray some lead, both of them at each other. Both had guns, looking for
Yeah.
trouble. They found it.
Mhm.
You're telling me that if they had a family unit that had a few people in it that were on them about doing right and wrong, doing what they're supposed to, being respectful, not talking back and doing it, you're telling me that still would have happened? I disagree. You're never going to be able to convince me of that.
No. But here's the problem, Mark, right? So with the loss of the family nucleus, there's no values being taught. There's no values being seen. And then in turn, the problem is, to me, I've said this for eons, social is going to be the demise of society, which it is, right? Because these guys watch these people being idiots, and then it's like, oh, I can do that. I mean, shit, you got Zuckerberg's platform promotes pedophiles, right? Promotes you being able to sit there and sexually extort a child. What kind of madness is that? Yet I want to sit there and try to promote free law enforcement firearms training. Nope, demoted. You know, our primary page, Warhog Tactical, deactivated. Right? For what? Was I
Yeah.
posting kitty porn? Nope. You know, it was all 2A driven, and they don't like that because at the end of the day, the second is there to defend us from tyranny, which tyranny is here. You know, say what you want, and people will sit there and they love to argue this whenever I go that Zuck's in violation of constitutional law. We go, well, he's a private company. Yeah, he is a private company, but he's taking his direction from the US government, which then in turn makes him a state actor,
Oh yeah.
which makes him responsible, right, under constitutional law. So it was funny when he was in, at Congress, you had all, those parents there that are trying to bring suits against Facebook for the things that, or we'll just say Meta for all his different platforms, right? For different things that have happened to their children. And I get it. Part of it is, hey, you got to be a little more proactive with your kids, right? But kids are tricky. Kids are sneaky, right? They're going to sit there and figure out ways to wiggle their machines, and especially if you give them a phone. But I would tell you this: don't even give them one, right? Get them an old flip phone. I got it. They'll hate you. They'll love you at the end. But
Yeah.
that's part of the problem too, because the social norm is you got to have a phone. So you're letting these savages, i.e., Zuckerberg, in your house that much earlier. So potentially whatever you're teaching or doing is all being undone by that magic box. So how do you
Hmm.
how do how do you fix that one, right? So you might be trying to do the right thing. You might be trying to sit there and take care of business. But the problem is, Mark, you have all these saboteurs along the way. Um, the state of Iowa, the state of Iowa just took back a child out of parental custody
Oh yes.
because the parents' strong Christian values did not align with this child wanting to transition or
Yeah.
change names, or whatever the case may be, right? So let's think about it, man. The only way back in the day, and I hate to even use back in the day, but I'll say back in the day when we had common sense, right, that a child was going to be removed from a home was if that child was endangered.
Right.
So now the state rolls in because that child has mental health issues that the parents were trying to get straight, right? But somehow the state go, oh no, no, no. We know it's best for your child. How do you
Right.
battle that?
Yeah.
Right? I
That in
mean,
itself should be terrifying to everybody.
well, it was funny because me and the wife were having a conversation. And I'm telling you this, there's some hills to die on. And I think
Oh yeah.
for me as a parent, you think I'm going to let some chuckles take my child? Now, granted, I've got grown kids now, right? But back in the day, take my child because they're mentally confused on what's going on, and you, the state, think you know what's right?
Yeah. And they can
I,
fix it. Shoot,
it,
they're going to make it worse.
it, but I'm like, no way, because as soon as my child goes, man, who knows what that state's doing to them? Who knows what
Oh no.
indoctrination, right? So then they're going to start pumping puberty blockers and all this other stuff. God, by the time the court systems as slow as they lag, hell, there may be some irreversible damage done to that child because some moron had zero parental consent because that did not agree with my religious beliefs.
Yeah, and the
I'm just
state, the Supreme Court is the one that stepped in on that one, wasn't it? It was a couple years that had been going on, and I think the Supreme
no,
Court of the United States is the one that stepped in on that, right?
this just happened.
Yeah, they just got the child back.
Yeah,
I think
but
it went to the Supreme Court. I have to double check on that.
but what I'm saying though, brother, is it's ludicrous, man. So
Mhm.
all this stuff we're saying, as far as you want to do the right things, and that's cool. Now all of a sudden, that child slightly confused, not sure what's going on, and the state's going to roll in. So, like, if you go to your public school and tell your teacher, "Oh, hey, I'm a boy, but I think I'm a girl, but I want to be a cat," and dude, they're doing stuff behind parents' backs,
Oh yeah.
right? They're not even disclosing to the parents. So part of it is, yeah, we're going, yes, hey, you got to step up to the plate, dad. You got to be proactive. Hey, you got to be the role model. You got to do all this stuff. Yes, 100%. But to me, being a parent this day and age is so much harder. It's so much more work, right? You've got in these elementary school libraries, you basically got pornographic material in there that the schools have put in there, right?
Yeah.
As part of their reading programs.
Yeah,
And
Ron DeSantis had a press conference where he was talking about that very thing. One of the cases was one of the parents was reading from one of the books that's available for the kids to check out,
yeah,
and the city council's like, "Oh, we can't have that kind of material in this hearing." He's like, "But this is what my kid brought home.
yeah,
This is what he brought
from
home from your library, but we can't talk about it, and we're adults."
yeah,
That's the kind of lunacy that we're dealing with. Also, I saw another thing on X. This lady, she's a parent. I don't know what her dealio is, but her son was identifying as a cat, and
mhm,
he was meowing and licking his hands. And
yeah,
all these other kids, little kids, I'm guessing like kindergarten age, maybe first grade, they're
mhm,
like, they're just, it's disruptive, is what the teacher said.
sure.
So now the parent is pleading to the Twitter nation that she feels that this school is not providing him to express himself as a cat. So not only are we dealing with all these other folks, we're dealing with these lunatics that unfortunately are raising these children
Well,
to to be able to think they can do whatever they want.
yeah. Well, you have the mentally ill basically inducing the mentally ill,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Or
Eh,
causing a problem that may not have even existed. You know what I mean?
exactly. So you think about it. You look at some of these parents, right? You've got some parents doing great things. You got some parents that are being wrong. They're going, "Oh, no, Sally, you should be Bobby," right? Or "No, Bobby, you should be Sally." You got parents sabotaging some of these kids as well, right? And then you got these moron doctors out there that I'm going to tell you this: if you're a doctor and you put a scalpel to a child under the 18 years old to remove any of their anatomy physiology, short of being a needed medical procedure, i.e., in the sexual type thing that you're butchering them, dude, you should be disbarred, thrown in jail, and get the juice, right? What but then you had schools like Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt got caught red-handed, right? Vanderbilt got caught on camera saying it's about the money. Don't buck the system. You got somebody that comes in there and wants to transition. Don't even talk to them. Say, Roger that, take their cash and go cut their crap off and give them an irreversible type situation, which you look at most of these people that transition over end up committing suicide. You look at the EU. The EU has finally seen that 20 years of mutilating people, so Dr. Mangala itself never left Europe because they're out there butchering all these people. And they were like, hey, we got to stop this. We are no longer doing this. But here at the grandiose old US of A, because again, Big Pharma runs it, you start putting people on certain hormones and all this other stuff or blocking or changing, dude, you just built yourself a lifelong customer.
You know, telling someone from a very young age that they can do no wrong, that their feelings are the most important thing ever, and do what you like, and if you don't do as well as you should have, then it's everybody else's fault. You tell that person a lifetime of that kind of stuff, that everybody owes you something,
Mhm.
and your feelings are the most important thing, that's how you end up with these prosecutors and these politicians who act the way like Fani Willis did, or that Letitia James is acting. It's a freaking nightmare. It's
But
an absolute nightmare. That person is no more qualified to be a family court, small claims court attorney than being in charge of Fulton County
dude,
District Attorney's Office.
Fanny, did you just listen to her speak?
Oh, it was awful.
What's up there, Emron? Right? You are a crooked criminal crook. And you think you're going to get highlights by bringing Trump, some charges on Trump. Huh. Hey, girlfriend, you need to take a step back because you're about to wear some silver bracelets and get your own picture taken.
Yeah.
And,
And
and,
the thing about that too is the only people that are really suffering from that. I mean, let's be honest. Besides, hugely wrongly accused 18 plus Mr. Trump,
Mhm.
is the people of Fulton County and the state of
Yeah.
Georgia. That's who's in charge. No wonder crime is out of control in these big cities because of stuff like that. She's
Eh,
awful,
horrible, right? Because
horrible.
her focus is so wrong. That's the problem. It is when your focus is 180 out. What Trump, really? Give me a break. That's your big thing,
Dude, it's
right?
ancient history. They need to get over it.
It it came and went. It came and went. But all these
Dude, we've got
DAs,
3 wars going on right now.
yeah,
They're talking about 2020.
yeah. We
Holy
got
crap.
we got 10 million illegals in this country that we don't know who
Yeah.
they are, right?
Yeah.
The Chinese, let's think about it. Communist China has imported a division plus element into this country, and nobody has even raised an eyebrow. A division of Chinese soldiers in this country, right? Because here's the thing, you just don't walk out of China as a single male, right? All having the nice same
No.
haircut, all having the nice same haircut, all having the certain sheets of information. People wake up, right? It's mind boggling that people's priorities are about on, you know, cats licking themselves as some human being or lost their mind when this
Yeah.
country's being invaded, right? We've got Chinese biolabs around. You've got up in New York City, that Chinese police station got busted. Why
Yeah.
does Chinese got a police station? Oh, to police their own, right?
Mm.
Because you don't roll out of China without having permissions from the communist.
I mean,
Don't tell me, you jumped on a boat, paddled to Taiwan. I'm gonna say fat chance, sucker. That didn't happen. Uh, that doesn't happen without a reason.
yeah.
But my
Yeah, dude, New York City is that's a whole show in its own. That place is a disaster.
well,
Disaster.
here's the sad thing, Mark. Truth be told, my wife wanted to go to New York with one of her girlfriends. I put my foot down. I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You will not.
There's a Yeah.
It-
There was a trip that at the Mama Kelley Defense wanted to go on, and it wasn't New York, it was another city. I said, "Nope."
Mhm. No.
I said, "Look, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else. Not this
Here's the
other
thing.
place." I don't want to say anything, but
Here's the thing. Don't go to a major city. Just go to the beach.
no.
Right?
Yeah.
But one of her girlfriends was like, "Hey, let's go up to New York City." I was like, "You will not.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen." Right? Why would I send my wife when I
Mm,
can't be there to put her in danger? Not gonna happen.
mm, no.
Right?
Unfortunately,
I-
that city's dying. I want to do one more little piece of housekeeping, but I want to talk about
Yeah, buddy.
one more thing, and it's about the media. So let's talk about this first. Everybody's going to love it. I want to make sure that we let everybody know 100% about the crew membership. We've kind
Mhm.
of not talked about that enough. Everybody, you got to go to kelleydefense.com or warhog.com and you got to check it out. We have a training group, whatever you want to call it, but we call it the crew. And it has all of our virtual stuff on there, our training catalogs. We have Zoom calls bi-monthly. We also have all kinds of other things coming up. We're doing a giveaway right now. But we got to make sure that we get the word out and you guys check it out because this is some no BS training. And you got to have that kind of reinforced attention to what you're doing with the training as well. And the crew membership, whatever one you choose, the free one, with, like you said, you're going to get some good stuff, but you're not going to get the real good stuff. So I want to make sure that you and I get in front of everybody and tell them about the crew again.
Yeah, and here's the thing, I'll tell you straight up. So we just did a 12 video series with Pantheo on
Mm-hmm.
the Grizzly Target Shoot and Steal.
That's right.
There's one of those videos out on YouTube, right? So I tried doing this big promotion premiere, put this thing up there, and it got no juice. I don't know if I'm gonna put the other ones up, to be honest with you. But you know what? The patrons got them.
Oh
They
yeah.
got them. They got them well before. Because as soon as I got them, what was I doing? Dumping them on Patreon, right? So we got our
Mm-hmm.
whole section, steel shoot and drill. Boom. There's a bunch of things that's exclusive as far as the video content for the patrons. But here's the other
Yep.
part, Mark. Right? Those bi-monthly Zoom calls. We might have a rough agenda outline what we might want to cover, right? But we kind of open the floor up, or some of the patrons will go, "Hey man, can we chat about this?" Or they've got some concerns or things they want to chat about. It's a community built deal, and I think kind of last go around, we were just, "Hey man, go shoot the Warhog self eval. Let's talk about it.
Right.
Let's look at people's breaking stuff down to make people better." We've had a couple guys that want to improve their instructor skills. Hey man, we can talk about it, right? We'll tell you what we're doing. I mean, we can cover all kinds of stuff. But here's the
Yeah.
deal. We
And
don't.
we usually do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But here's the
Yeah.
deal. We can't cover anything if you're not there. So
No.
if you want to be part of it, it's super easy. Warhog.com, KelleyDefense.com. You'll see the big old link to our Patreon OTR crew membership. And it's just a great way to be around like-minded individuals. And them cats all chit-chat back and forth like the women's
Oh yeah.
gossip club.
Oh, it's a great time.
Oh,
Great
dude,
time.
yeah, super. So
International squad too. I like it.
it is international. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
100% it is.
So our next Zoom call is coming up on the 28th. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time. So
Mhm.
make sure you go check it out. Don't miss it. All you got to do is sign up for the tier level with the law enforcement or the all access, and you're going to be there. So see you there. I think there's one piece about what we've been talking about today, and we've been throwing a lot out. We haven't been on the OTR universe together for a few weeks now, but we're kind of catching up, and I hope
Mhm.
everybody's enjoying this content because I certainly am. But that feeling of like, oh my gosh, this mom, she's doing this to her kid. These kids that people are trying to portray as victims are actually criminals, and they're freaking murdering people.
Mhm.
All this stuff. I think there's a silver lining on it, and this even envelops the Fannie Willis and the Letitia James, these district attorneys, and these mayors like Eric Adams in New York, and this other mayor that just got pinched with all these corruption and all this other stuff. Let's throw in the president of the United States. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong,
The worst
everybody's
president ever in history? Yes, Mark, you are
oh
100%
yeah.
correct. Jimmy Carter's
Did you
going,
see that?
yes.
Did you see that list of the worst presidents that it was a New York Times or someone put out? Of course, Donald Trump was last, of course. I think Biden was above, like, gosh, who was the one that did all the stuff with, I think he was above FDR,
Wow.
like with all the roads and all, and Eisenhower, he's above all
Eisenhower.
these
Yeah.
things well, great presidents, above Reagan. Anyway, so you see all these things, and if you're just a normal person, let's say you're not far right, far left, which you and I have made it very clear that we don't identify with either. We identify
Mhm.
with common sense and what
Mhm.
we can see. We look out the window every now and then.
Yeah.
If you're watching CNN, if you're watching, and I'm going to throw out a shout out to an anchor. I'm going to throw out a shout out. But anyway, you're watching these major, even Fox sometimes.
Mhm.
Let's call it what it is. If you're getting your main dose of information from these people and you see them put on Chuck Schumer and he says, oh yeah, I had a conversation with the president. He is sharp as a tack. Didn't mean nothing. Didn't miss nothing in that conversation. He was schooling us. And then you see him talking at the G7, and he sounds like he's talking about Francois Mitterrand. He had a picture with him back in the back. My man's been dead for almost 30 years. Okay. Now that can happen. That can happen. Again, there's all, but
no.
Come on.
No.
Come on. And then he called the Mexican president. He said his name when they were talking about Egypt.
So sometimes them foreign names get tricky, you know.
I got you. You know, it's international, man. You know,
Spanish,
but it's
Spanish,
just,
Arabic. It happens.
Yeah, and then you have people get on there. You know, other senators and stuff getting on there and talking about how great that the conversation was, and he was running the show, and he was all over the room. And then why don't we see any footage of that? Don't you think if he was just killing the room, that there wouldn't be some footage? The only thing you do is shuffle him out. I like when he comes walking across the screen like this.
Yeah.
It just keeps on going and passes up the mic. Those are my favorite.
Dude.
You got to look at it and you're a normal person. You're like, hey man, they are lying to us. So if they're lying to you about that, you have to think that at least 50% of everything else they're saying is 100% not true.
I'd say more, right? So for me,
I'm
this
being
is
generous.
Well, yeah. For me, I'm at about. I take everything that comes from all these different places pretty much at face value is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Until if I want to invest the time or effort to see is it actually true or not. But everything that comes, I don't care whether it's coming from the phone, the TV, the radio, lies, right? That's just way I've been because it is too manipulated. I want to tell you a little funny little thing here I ran across, and it's funny because it's going to go. I'm going to post this on the Range Podcast IG account. Came across a news article, or not a news article, but a ABC News broadcast shortly after 9/11, when old Peter Jennings was still alive. Do you know what they were talking about? They were talking about shortly after 9/11, people profiting off of that catastrophic event, right?
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Well, but here's my point, right? They were calling people out for dumping stocks or working stocks of American and United, right? Making millions and millions of dollars on this stuff. And I sat there for a second and I listened to it and I'm like, I guess I was too busy at that current junction to, catch that broadcast. But my point being, it just seemed, we've had such a hard shift of where we once relied on the news or we expected these people to do their due diligence and dig, where nowadays I'm 180 going, yeah, it's all lies.
Yeah.
I don't believe a word they say until I can sit there and prove it otherwise. And that's a crappy place to be because you'd like to have some faith in the system. But where's the faith?
Yeah.
The faith, I think the only real faith you have is in the nucleus of people that surround you. You give them the benefit of the doubt until they prove you wrong. And then, hey, man, nothing personal. Boot you out of the circle. Go find somebody else.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. And, to be fair to this show and to other shows that we see that are kind of out there on the YouTubes and things like that, the alternative news networks that are springing up, not so much the podcast. I mean, podcast world is saturated, but they still don't last long, like a long-standing show like this one. You've been around 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
But they're doing pretty good work. They're doing real good work out there. I mean, Tucker falls underneath that category.
Yeah, but Tucker kind of irritated me a little bit, right?
Yeah.
When he went to Russia, right, and he makes the statement of, well, look what my $100 gets me here in Russia. Dude, you're in Russia, right? It's not a fair comparison.
Yeah,
So
that felt a little weird because he's smarter than that. Because, dude, of course you went to the cleanest subway in the world because they knew you were coming there and they forcibly made everybody leave. And they probably were all cleaning it down there on their hands and knees for the last 3 weeks. This is the subway that he's going to be allowed to go to. You don't think that his travel was 100% dictated
it was
by
dictated, it was monitored, all
from
that
from
stuff,
the
right?
time he got there, from the room he went there, everything was the best,
Oh, yeah.
and
Well,
the stock the shelves were stocked because this is where you're
yeah,
going to shop right here.
yeah. But to
Yeah,
me, that was
Michael Malice. Go ahead.
well, no, I was just saying that when he made that comment, I'm like,
Yeah.
go back. I mean, you just look at the Soviets, and they're still the Soviets, right?
Yes.
Granted, uh, had some slight leadership change along the way, but man, they're still not a real economic powerhouse. Putin might be a gazillionaire because he steals all the people's
Oh
money,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
um,
They're yeah.
you still got your
They're not doing anything like it's made to them appear. The only thing we're seeing is what they show us and what they tell us.
sure. Like we still don't know. Here's a prime example. I don't think the Russians have come out and truly said how many troops they've lost in this war.
Yeah.
I heard some
Yeah, they're not
estimates.
impressed. They're not impressing anybody with that display. I can
Well,
tell you
no,
that
no,
performance. No.
no. But I've heard some numbers. You know, 350,000,
Hmm.
350,000 in 2 years. That's a lot of dudes,
Yeah.
right?
And you can probably double that.
Who knows? But we'll probably never know.
Yeah. No,
But
absolutely not.
but
Yeah.
that was
So the
that was my one thing with Tucker though. It was just that
yeah,
little that
it
kind of rubbed me
was.
wrong. Yeah,
It was, but in general, I do believe what he says. I believe
sure.
what a lot of folks say in those type of positions where they're not really working for anybody, and what if it makes sense. Everybody out there, you guys are smart. You guys and girls, you're
Hmm.
smart. You know that Joe Biden isn't doing mental judo on anybody, but they're telling you that over and over and over again.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just not happening. So I want to throw kudos to one. Now, Kevin O'Leary, the Mr. Wonderful from the Shark Tank, and he was
Hmm.
talking about the horrible business decision. Now, there's a show up. Go check that out about the Governor Hochul and Letitia James out there. Giving putting that fee bag around the Trump organization, $350 million, almost $500 million after 9% interest. But
Hmm.
anyway, he was on CNN and he was talking to Laura Coates. Now, Laura Coates asked a lot of good questions, and then she tried to say the narrative. Well, hey, he's acting against, the laws are on the books. You're not allowed to do that. And Kevin O'Leary says, what fraud? What fraud? Everybody got paid. They got their money back with interest
Yeah.
early. Who's the victim? And then where's that money going? I don't know. But she did a good job. You could tell she thought this whole thing was BS.
Hmm.
And she was either trying to not look like she was lying or just being someone on the payroll and just running the party line, or she just did the best she could. And she let Kevin O'Leary talk. So I'm going to give her kudos on that. Now, I haven't watched a whole lot of her stuff, but every time I have, she's on CNN. She's done pretty good. So kudos to her.
Yeah.
But anyway, so good show, man.
Yeah. No, absolutely, brother. It's just biggest thing is we try to bring some points up to you guys, just to stem some
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this is my whole thing, and I'm going to do a whole words of wisdom on this. I do think we're going to have some crazy things happen 2024. My gut
Yeah.
unfortunately tells me that, just of past precedences and way things are rolling this way.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, get down on the dumper, do all that other stuff. I'd say if it
No.
were me, if I could take my phone and go pitch it out freaking in the ocean, I'd do it. Unfortunately, it's how I run my business. But guys, get off those boxes, right? If you're a man out there, go spend some time with your kids. Lead by example. Heck, if you're a single mom out there, same thing. Lead by example, right? Can be done.
Mhm. Yeah.
And just strive
If
to
you make a mistake, you make a
hey,
mistake.
you
Hey,
learn
you're
from it.
allowed.
Yeah.
You
No,
learn
well,
from it.
we're gonna make mistakes, right? We're human. We're
Yep.
we're always gonna make
Oh my
mistakes.
gosh. I made I made all kinds of mistakes, but you learn
That's
from
it.
them and you try not to do that thing again. And then if you make as many mistakes as I do, pretty soon you're going to get everything right because you've done everything wrong.
There you go. It's like when you first get that, your first newborn. It's like, oh, you drop the pacifier, you get
Oh
20
God.
more. You're like they never get recycled, right? Man, on the second kid, it's funny. You drop the pacifier. There you go, buddy. You're good.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Without even, not even,
Batting an eye.
1 second.
Yeah.
No.
It's like,
Yeah. So
whatever. Forget about it.
make sure you check out the Firearms Training Notebook though, folks. It's a great piece of kit. It will definitely help you out tremendously in your firearms training journey. You can go to warhog.com, kelleydefense.com, and also go to Amazon. And we'll let you know, the crew members get first crack at it, but we'll let you know when the next spiral bound edition comes out. We'll probably be working on that here in the next quarter or so. But yeah, man, it's either way, the paperback or the spiral bound, either way, it does a great job. And it's an integral part of our training regimens now and our training classes, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But the only way you're going to find out is get on those newsletters. Warhog.com, kelleydefense.com. Trust me, we're not going to sit there and send you a bunch of junk. Like there's some companies, it's like daily. Trust
Yeah.
we hang on here. Let me get you the Warhog marketing department. Warhog marketing, yes. Yes, sir. Yeah, me fingers.
Yeah. Make sure you add us to your contact list too, because I tell you what the problem with some of these things is we get, they throw those switches on us. As a matter of fact, I had a financial institution shut down my stuff. I had to write some things to explain exactly what I'm doing here at Kelley Defense.
Wow.
So they were pinching me pretty good. I got that straightened out fairly quickly. So, we've been down that road a couple of times, but pulling like a Trudeau and and putting the squeeze on my fundage.
Dude, that's why I try to keep nothing in there, right? I swear I try to keep nothing. But I got a baklava, man. Just let me know.
Well, you know what? We could pull a Fannie Willis and just put it in the mattress. That's what she does.
Yeah, cash.
So
but then her dad made the comment.
Every second floor man that watched that testimony is thinking, I happen to know where old girl lives.
That's it, man. I'm going to the mattress. I'm getting me some cash.
Yeah.
God bless, man.
That was great.
Crazy.
Great
Dude.
testimony.
Yeah.
Good TV.
That was great. It's like watching Jerry Springer, man.
Great.
Oh my gosh. Who's the dad? Where's the cash? I'm like, oh my God.
Well, she showed up and they're like, hey, did we call you? She's like, no, I wanted to do this.
Yeah. Dumb.
Yeah. So then the next day she's like, didn't testify and pled the fifth.
No, because she got handed. She thought, right? She's like, oh, I'm prosecuting Trump. I'm untouchable. And her case started falling apart. Right.
Oh, dude.
Started
in a New York minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's paying off with cash? Right? Number one, who's got that much cash at the house just to go, And if you got that much cash there, girlfriend, right? I'm not saying you don't, but you had to make a couple house jumps, some other things. You were delinquent in paying your taxes. So that tells me you're not the most frugal person with your cash, but somehow you got cash to pay this guy off.
Not very business savvy, Miss Willis is. Not at all.
Not even business savvy, right? Personal finance savvy. We'll take business out of it, right? Personal finance. A checkbook. It's basic like second grade math, right? 1 plus, plus and minuses. It's not even any division.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That was crazy. All right, buddy. Let's do it again soon, pal.
You know it, bud.
All right. You want to go ahead and close it out?
You guys train hard, stay safe, and we'll see you on the range.
On the Range Podcast.